Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 525, trustee case 525. And so this is one of those episodes where we're going to go ahead and start doing it. We're going to go through cases, consultations, what we've gone through, how we've consulted, and that's their particular case. It's not universal. People have signed non disclosure, so you don't hear names, but you will hear a case. And we're going to go over germane details to reasons why people continuously reach out, and they've reached out for many reasons for many years. So definitely appreciate everybody that hits the like and subscribe button. Let's start out the grand fashion way, keeping the channel growing through the algorithm. Always appreciate everybody that reaches out. Christian at trustchristian.com. You can feel free to reach out to the email Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Trustee case 525. This is actually a fresh, hot off the press case. There's no compromise to the party because there's no name being involved. So you guys can just hear the case and pretty much hear what needs to be in place. Just pre-diagnosis, we could share with you all many cases, and we will. We'll just start doing micro episodes of what will be considered cases of people that have reached out and what is best case scenario for them in their particular situation when they reached out to the vault, and how we think we best to move forward with them. So here we go. Case comes in, gentleman, definitely not married, but has a significant other, already in a position before 40 years old to sell a company. It's a tech company, has minimal employees, has been in the States for over 3 years. As far as the growth of the company is definitely pumping in over $250,000, $500,000 in revenue minimum, and that's how that looks. Tech company. So low cost, no, once again, minimal employees. When we say minimum, we're talking less than five, less than three. So it's really less than that. And you see, you get families reach out and say, hey, no, I don't want this to be on me personally. That's what the CEO of the company is saying. So, it's one of those things where when someone comes through, this is the case where someone is the primary quote unquote custodian of the company, primary owner of the company, but they're definitely in a great position to actually sell their company, which is the task of everyone should be, and is business ownership, entrepreneurship. In this particular case, this entrepreneur is able to sell their company at a great valuation of over $2 million. And so they're trying to avoid any liability. That's what it's called. You heard that? They're trying to avoid any liability. So when you come in contact with these individuals, you have to say, okay, well, what's best case scenario or just case scenarios that you run into with these individuals? And so, the first thing that they ask is they want to minimize liability. Well, if they want to minimize liability, we got to make sure that we always address with the structures from the beginning, whether it's structure, whether it's the story and the team, and all those things that we address right there. So, who is the initial primary owner? Okay, so we see that there's a primary owner. There's no additional partners. And we see that this is basically a capital gain situation. And what happens is families want to be in a position where they can minimize their liability, even walking into a situation with a significant other. Sometimes people say, oh, should I just go straight into trusteeship? Oh, trust Christian involved, we're just going to go straight into trusteeship. These things can sound good. Having people that we work with, they have showed high levels of, I don't want to be put into something that can come back on us. And we're like, look, it ultimately comes down to look at your team, look at the structure, and look at your story. So when we do look at these individuals, say, okay, outside of their story, that's the easy part. They have it inside of them. You talk about their structures, that's definitely something that you address with a team. So we immediately make it a point to develop a strategy that involves a team, not just, oh, I need to be in trust. Sure, a lot of people can reach out for that. What happens when you have to get on the line now where there's things that can just still work for you well on the public side and you still can benefit on the private side, or you can still have some private control. So case once again is where, okay, we have the individual now and that's company owner. You're in contact with the right team. Right team's financial advisor. Financial advisor is someone that looks at, we need to select the right CPA for you. See, a lot of people reach out to the vault and they've asked that for years. Oh, do you give us the CPA? It's like, if we gave you the CPA, that would be a setup. We do have some of the best CPAs, and that's why we'll share them. That means reaching out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, Christian at trustchristian.com. See, for a year, and so what's interesting is this trust case is someone that has a business that's valued over $1 million and literally is revenuing over half a million. It's not an accident. It's not a coinky dink. It's not a maybe. It is. It is. So we're talking about a real case, a real someone. This is consultation, but we're gonna call it case, trustee case. Oh, okay. I have my company valued at. Obviously you can see the multiples that tech companies are getting valued at nowadays, and they get an evaluation. That's great. Okay, we're back into the team and the structure. People say, "Oh, I don't want to." People, this is what they say. I want to read everything up about it. How you gonna read up on the best CPA's job that you're gonna have on your team? You think you're gonna be able to have even a competent conversation with one of the best quote unquote accountants in the United States? So it's definitely important to get those people right away. It's interesting because we used to sit around mentors and say, always get people that you can't afford. It's almost like if people do reach out to the vault and they're swinging for the fences, this particular trustee was not swinging for the fences. They can definitely utilize the trustee training, and in turn, they have utilized the trustee training because they're utilizing the team. When you utilize the team, then you do utilize the trustee training. The team is inside of trustee training. So they're inside of trustee training. They're making it a point to literally, I mean, at the end of the day, you say what's going on with it. Basically, you put the families need to be in position of control. Once they're in position of control, it's easier to sell assets and it's favorable to sell assets in that position, especially to prospective buyers. In this particular case, there is a LOI out on it, so or we can just make sure it's just that it actually goes through. Nevertheless, they still have a valuation in there already. The fact that they already have valuation and they're able to have that, they're able to get close to finishing a lot, finishing over. They can finish over. The fact that they're able to build a company that quickly to that type of valuation, they're definitely somebody that they're probably going to do it again. They're not going to not do it again, or they're going to take that money from the sale of that business, which they understand. That's why they reached out to the vault. I need asset protection. They reached out. They got asset protection. Then you move into the team and structure phase. That's what happened. They needed to move through. We're sharing with you all. We maybe don't always share, so that's why we're sharing it, which is inside of the trustee case, which is once you get within the trustee training, you have the team and not just the structure. Oh, I have the team. Now you have that. You have some people say, oh, I need these accountants, I need these lawyers. They've been asking us for years. The biggest thing, ladies and gentlemen, is quote unquote what they say, structuring yourself right. Well, if that's the case, then you got to have the right team. Well, in this particular case, trustee says, "Oh, I want to read up some more on trustee stuff and all these different things." Sure, if you're a rapid reader, most people would say people's attention span is not long. So if they're a rapid reader, they're going to be able to digest information. But what's interesting is just being working with this particular trustee. The questions that are being asked, the questions that are being asked are coming from basically other people's flaws. And it's unfortunate in the public marketplace that there's things that are just pushed out there, no problem. But when it comes to working with some of the best, you can count on the vault because we surrounded ourselves around the billionaires. There's no question of, oh, has Trust Christian Involved surrounded himself with the billionaires? Why would we have not done that? First of all, if you're going to be in trusteeship, you're generally going to be around people that have billions of dollars or multiple millions of dollars. Dr. Bay, we brought Dr. Bay on the line before. Dr. Bay used to be the mentor, or he is the mentor, that would say, if you didn't have $1 million, you didn't even deserve to be in a trust. And he would say that flat out to Trust Christian all the time, like 100%. Like, that's the way it goes. Don't even waste your time. That's what he would say. If you didn't have $1 million, don't waste your time. And so, sure, you can get into that conversation with him, and he'll maybe seed a little bit in that conversation nonetheless. But in this particular case, once again, you see this is an entrepreneur. So you say, oh, what's trusteeship for? Entrepreneurs. That's favorable. We've had entrepreneurs, as we go through trustee cases, you'll see that it's pretty much going to be the best cases are going to be entrepreneurs. They're going to be fully suited. They're going to be fully in trustee training. They're going to be fully through with getting acquainted with the team on the private side. Why? Because they understand that. First of all, these are high level entrepreneurs. Once again, you all can see that the valuations of these entrepreneurs are millionaires. They're $1 million valuations. And so that's really gave us the gravitas to even have these episodes now. Is we've had people that have $1 million businesses, $1 million athletes, people reach out for years now. And we're just going to start sharing them as trustee cases, because you can't say, well, how are they doing it and I'm not doing it? Exactly. This is an entrepreneur. You could say they built something out of their garage. They have a tech company, software company. We actually talked to two techs today, and the other one, tech company, software company, and just what do you think their contract bases are? They're not going to be small contracts, but these entrepreneurs in the tech space, it sounds like they just know how to get great margins. If you all knew that the trustee case that we're talking about is getting over 30% margins. It's actually over 40%. We're not going to quote it more than 80, but it was definitely in between 30 and 80. So if you can see the range of margins that these tech is actually over 40. So you get 40. It's a 40 to 80 margin percent business, and think that's incredible. Off you think about that, off a $500,000 revenue, you're generating 40 gross on top of and that's just not even cost yet. So it's a great model. You can see trustees and how they want to operate, and they're moving in positions because they understand, or they're aware for sure that there's liabilities with gains in their name. And so you know you get in front of these individuals. Sure, there's, oh, I'm not sure, I need to get more information. You know how you get more information? By selecting the right team, by interviewing a team. This is the most interesting part, is the entrepreneurs can select the team because they traditionally, if they're going to grow, they have to. Even thinking about this trustee in particular, this trustee is a solopreneur. Well, clearly, this trustee might be apprehensive with working with other people. They've already built a $500,000 business. They don't. What do they need you for? They don't want you to be a liability. Exactly. They're protective of their baby. No worries. You want to be protective of your baby. The biggest thing now is finding the team that can help you transition from little baby entrepreneur to big boy entrepreneur. When they call you from a boy to a man, that's what that's called. That's not literally defining the trustee, but just saying, when you go from, girl to a lady, it's an analogy of, hey, you go from childhood to adulthood. That's the move when you say, oh, I'm going to sell my company and things of that nature. That's great. Appreciate the Bronx for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate the Bronx for tuning in live, listen, replay. We got Indiana tuning in live, listen, replay. We got Mississippi tuning in live, listen, replay. We got New York, somebody else from New York for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen, replay. We're definitely doing this episode for sure to start going over trustee cases that are reached out through consultations, and we're going to go into slight details such as this right here. No names, no state. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. This trustee even reached out about the fact that they wanted to know what was the best state to sell their business in. Was it in Wyoming or was it in their domicile state? These are things that people reach out to the vault for consultations for. This is why you reach out to the vault, so you can find a team that can help you reel in these little itty bitty questions, finding the best CPA, finding the best attorney. You say, oh man, I need to find the best attorney. Well, it's not one, so we find a team. We do our best to find them local. Trustee case 525. Sticking to this particular trustee case, once again, trustees domiciled actually in a high tax state. So when you think about that, all of you all may not be domiciled in a high tax state. Some of you all may be. Uh, when you think about what state should the company be sold if that's the case? Very briefly, I mean, is that abnormal for a company to all of a sudden be created and they sell the company in another state because it's favorable, because you have a great team that can help you execute? That's how it looks. That's what we do at the vault. And that comes obviously with experience. I was sitting there thinking today, when you have someone that has over, 60 years of experience between two people, when you have, when you have those type of years of experience, they've kind of seen a lot of things. And when you see people that are in positions of guarantees, you're not, you come from the background in the public realm. Oh, there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees. But what happens when you get in front of someone that they're so good at their job that it's a guarantee? And specifically in business law and in a business environment, when it comes to this money stuff that people are kind of scared about. So it's definitely exciting to have those people. When you say, oh, how did you get those people? It's because we've invested in those relationships, the billionaire relationships that people may, oh, I don't know if billionaires are nice people or whatever. It's like, well, we don't know what you're talking about. These people are waiting for you to come in the room and actually introduce yourself and do business. And that comes from having ideas. And of course, so the trustee has an idea. It's actually a very simple idea. We're not surprised that they're selling it, but if you're saying they're getting a multiple for that one right there, there's a lot of money in the tech environment with multiples if you can sell off something that has a good tech aggregate to the model overall. So once again, this is a tech case. You say, oh man, how does it look when it comes to sell of an asset, sell of a company in tech world? This is what happens is it's not abnormal for even a buyer want to buy the company in a very strategic position. For sure, buyers want to buy things in very strategic positions. It's not to be stated, oh, that it has to be offshore. Yeah, it doesn't have to be stated that it's offshore. But you know, no one's going to sit in front of you in America right now. Most lawyers in America, most people are going to say, oh, you should open up a Dubai corporation. So why is Wyoming any better? But they don't want to tell you about Dubai. Why? Because they just don't know. They just don't know. So what if you could find a team that can help you do that? That's the vault. Been here for years. We're happy to hear people consistently in the past few weeks say, "Oh, we've seen you've been around for a while. We stated these things for years." That's great that you guys realize that and see that it's been up for years. So when we talk, we're gonna go through many cases. You all, oh, the Airbnb business, the Airbnb business. Y'all don't even understand. We got trustees right now that are listening, that we can see are listening, and we can talk about trusteeship with Airbnb cases. Oh, I got an Airbnb. Should I be in trusteeship? I got this type of business. Should I be in trusteeship? If you're looking for asset protection, because you might want to even sell these houses that you have at one point. That's what we're talking about with the tech company. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to this case. This was definitely one of many cases. Just feel free to know that we actually are going to be using many cases. They're going to be non-disclosed. There's no, specific names that you need to hear, but just be aware. Instead of doing testimonials, we can do trustee cases for sure. And this is going to be very educational to the, listening audience that maybe even in these situations when they say, "Oh, well, what's the big idea? What if I reach out once again?" to get in contact with, so-called private, trustees and attorneys and accountants. People come online all the time. Well, I want to research more of this information. And how come people aren't putting this information out in the public? Well, they're not putting it out because they're protecting their bread and butter. The people in this sector are protecting their bread and butter. And so that means protecting their greatest assets, themselves, the assets that they are in control of, and doing it at a high level. Thank you all for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen, replay. Maybe able to knock out many trustee cases actually, very quickly here. So just be on the lookout for these just to get cranked out. At this point, we're just going to start posting them so you all can get a taste of it. We can already see this has a great response, and there's a bunch of people that are going to just learn from the different trustee cases. It's many different trustee cases that people are many different verticals and how we've worked with them and talked to them. When people say, "Oh, I need to get in contact with the infinite banking or the private family banking," how does that work within, my scope of private family estate? They actually mention this. They say they actually get to this at one point. They talk about selling their company, managing their company, reorganizing, all type of stuff. Somehow they jump to, well, just a real quick, Trust Christian involved in the team. I want to know about the private family banking. What do you guys know about that? Oh, how did that come up in the conversation when we're talking about the sale of an asset? You see how that goes? The information goes together. It's a system. That's why people bring it up. But that's not maybe the initial reason why they reach out. Oh, they didn't have the need for private family banking right away. But I've seen something and I was doing some research on private family banking and it led me to trusteeship. And now I'm on trusteeship because I really do need to protect. But they definitely, hey, what's going on with that? How do I integrate that into the policy, and how does that work? That's literally what they ask, and we just put them in contact with our trusted advisor that we've been in contact with for years, and that's how we operate, and that's the way we've done it for years. You guys have seen him on the flyer for trusteeship on the flyer, Victor, and feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. We can do a consultation and move forward with you all and your family. Look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.